And we are officially live. We are here with the crew. We were going to be the cast and crew, but we're having some technical difficulties. But we're here with the crew, the director and the crew of the Grand Bolero, which, of course, if you're a Pendance viewer, you've just watched it. So they're here to answer your questions. If we'll go in clockwise here, starting with Sean, if you can just introduce yourself and what you did on the film.
Sure. So I'm Sean. I'm a composer, and in this film, I composed and arranged for it, the music.
Oh, I'm just gonna go. So I'm Gabriele. I'm the writer and director of the film. Yeah. Thank you for watching the film.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I am the director of photography of the movie.
And, can't tell you how much those three departments stuck out in this film. It's incredible. So I know that Sean has to depart in about 15 minutes. So we want to ask him a few questions about the music. Okay, so I want to talk first about what was that first conversation when Gabriele came to you with the script, or were you involved in pre-production, or was it you came on a little bit later?
I was involved, which is something that I really love about the process working with Gabriele, because we get to start talking about the music when the script maybe isn't even finished yet. So the first conversation I think we had about that was when I had the chance to read the script, and we just talked about the story on its own, and then he brought in how the music was going to interact with everything, and very quickly after what pieces were going to be used at different parts. So we had a lot of time prior to even the start of shooting to really dive into what we were going to do musically.
Absolutely. And what was that first conversation like? Like what was it like? What was the thing that just got, like, if you can hone it down to a sentence that got you super excited about it, what was it?
We're recording on a live organ. I think that's got to be the sentence.
Was that was music to your ears?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so common to do in the box, digitally synthesized music, and especially when it comes to rarer instruments like organ, that aren't always going to be available in just a typical orchestral recording session. But to hear that we had access to a gigantic organ in a church in Italy that was going to be playing note for note what was going to be programmed, it's just really got the synapses going.
In an age where things are so packaged and digitalized and faked, does the authenticity of it, even if it's not always notable, it's often felt? Is that relevant to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important to include as many human elements as you can. Even when you do digitize music, if you can put something live in there, just incorporating a human voice or just a single live instrumentalist in the midst of all of this digitization, it really makes a huge difference. So the fact that we got to use mics set up in a real space and use a real instrument that wasn't being processed digitally was really exciting and really an emotional experience.
That comes through, in the film. It comes through that whoever put the tracks down, whoever was working on the music had a deep connection to the script. So speaking of the script, someone who wrote it knows something about it. Where does this come about? Because in a way, it's something that's we're all going through right now. You have the
Robert, I don't know about everybody, but you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was. Gosh.
Yeah, Robert, I think we were breaking up. Like I can't hear anything.
We have no luck with connection today.
Yeah, right. This is the...
Gosh.
Our host is gone.
yeah,
Oh no.
I don't know. Are we gonna solve? I don't know. Whoever is watching this, yeah, this is
Oh my.
this is a COVID film, and this is what happens every time. And just we're trying also to get like Lydia and Francesco on board. They're just like, and they keep like saying like, "Hey, let me in" and stuff like that. So,
that's what I text you. Oh man.
yeah.
Well, I hope there's some editing.
Am I back? Am I back?
Oh,
Hi.
You know what? You know what it was? I said the P word. I said the P word, which I will not say again, and this happens. It's a curse, actually. You know, I don't know if you believe in the biblical and the spiritual, but you know there's a film at Penance, Lucifer. The minute we downloaded that film, it's about an exorcism. My computer crashed for like 6 hours.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it, right? So I mentioned the P word, and oh, this is so funny.
Oh, there you go.
Come back,
Welcome back,
Robert.
It's
Oh my
sneaking
gosh.
in also. You know?
Oh my god. Okay.
I love that.
Yes. So I was mentioning about the script stage. You know, you have this very eloquent script. I'm hearing echo
Yeah.
now. Can everyone put themselves on mute? Okay. Yeah. So you have this very eloquent script. It is very contemporary, but it's not contemporary only. I feel like you could enjoy this film in 2024, 2028. So talk about the story origins of the Grand Bolero, and just, you know, at what point did you shift it into this pandemic? Because the pandemic is definitely a character in this film. It's heard in the ambulances and it's in the masks. It's felt. So, like, where does the story come from? When did you start writing it? That's my question. A lot of questions.
I mean, I've been obsessed about pipe organs since I was a kid. So I always wanted to write something that would showcase this instrument. So through the years, I've been like listening to a lot of these classical pieces that you hear in the film, and I've been writing down some scenes based on those pieces. So I collected those, and then me and Adali, the co-writer, were pitching a total different script to investors at the beginning of the pandemic. Then, of course, the pandemic happened, so we couldn't get like the budget right, and we knew that, like, especially with the pandemic, we wanted to shoot something during the pandemic.
Mhm.
So we tried really hard to like get the budget right for that script, but it was a point where like even the producer told me like, look, we're not gonna get more than this, you know. So either like you rewrite the story and cut out scenes, or we do something else, you know. So at first, me and Italy were trying to rewrite the script, but after a little bit, we were just cutting so many like important scenes. So we said, okay, no, let's shoot something that we can do like right now with the budget that we have. So I took out those like postcards, basically, where all these scenes were written, and then we pieced out the script. And at first it wasn't COVID, you know, like actually we thought this was Italy's idea. Originally the script was set like in the past, like in the 40s, in the 50s, right after the Second World War. But then we thought about it, and I especially I was really like into like making this a contemporary film, just because I knew that the productions were stopped, but also like all the films that were in production, they didn't have masks, and like I thought it would be interesting also for the story itself to, you know, put them on mask and like have this fear of touching each other, which is what we experienced during the pandemic, you know. So even with the story, it felt it was needed to help the claustrophobic of the story, you know. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Like you transition from you know, it's interesting because the 50s and 40s and post World War II, I'm not going to say this is exactly what we went through in the last 2 years, but if you're talking with your grandparents and they say, do you remember the time this? It's like, I understand that time 1% better now. I think I get it. So I think, you know, one of the questions that I really have for Jessica, and, you know, I really admire your work, first of all.
Thank
You're
you.
absolutely brilliant. Talk about the heavy lifting cinematography has to do in a film where there isn't as much dialogue as is usually there, you know, in terms of like telling story. Like it's a visual story. It's extremely visual. Like a lot of Penance films are very visual. This is to an extreme, very visual story. So talk about the collaboration process, your thought process behind some of your decisions in terms of color, in terms of framing, all of it.
So, well, it was we approached the movie as a documentary, first of all, because we felt that, like you said, it was very visual. So we wanted to focus more on the ambience around the characters and what they would bring only with their actions, and you know, the way they looked at each other. And also because we didn't have much time to actually organize ourselves, because Gabriele, we been in contact 2 weeks prior the movie, just to say just something like, hey, hi, how are you, you know, the pandemic and all. And he just went, you know, I need a DP for my movie that I'm gonna shoot from 2 weeks to now. And I'm like, okay. So I reached him in Milan, and we arranged everything in 2 weeks. We went scouting location, and you know, I prepped the camera, and we studied lenses, because we had these very old
Hi guys.
lenses. Hey, Lydia.
Ciao.
Hi guys. Finally, I can see you.
Hi.
I'm on the
Hi,
train. I'm
welcome.
getting off the train.
Nice to see you.
I'm
So
so sorry to cut in, but I have to get going. It's nice to see you all. Thank you so much for having me, Robert.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye, Sean.
Okay, bye. Take
bye,
care, guys.
Sean.
Take care.
Ciao, Sean.
You will see me
So-
now meeting the production for the movie. So I'm sorry to bother you. Okay,
Oh,
that
you're
would
not
be a little bit
bothering.
of confusion for me.
You're not
Never
bothering
mind.
us. You're not bothering us at all. We were just we were ironic earlier that we had a DP who couldn't light herself. We had a sound mixer who couldn't find his microphone, and we had an actress who couldn't find the camera. So we're happy to solve these problems one at a time now, you know. Thank you for joining us. This is by the way, you coming off of a train is only the second most creative Q&A location so far. We had the director of Striding with the Wind talk to us while he was skiing. So you're gonna have to. It's a very tough thing to beat there. You do your Q&A on a ski lift, you win some points for originality. Sorry to interrupt you, Jessica. So the process was very rushed, extremely rushed.
Yes,
You know, but
it was.
if you had told me you planned this out for 6 months, I probably would have believed you.
Wow, that's nice. That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
It was a lot of sleepless nights.
I can
'cause
empathize.
every day we would go, you know, through the scene, and Gabriele would draw storyboard, and especially we would count how much light we had during the day, especially for the exterior scenes. Like we would be like, okay, if we're going there at 5 a.m., then we have like 6 hours of
Yep.
sun. All these things. We were very, we studied them really. We were very precise on those things because we couldn't afford more days or, to waste time, of course.
This is a very similar. Story. I mean, how many days did you shoot the film in?
20.
Yeah, it's 23
20
probably,
something,
something
yeah.
like that.
Incredible. Yeah, we had. I don't know if you caught Anchorage at Pendance yet, but they shot their feature in 5
I
days.
barely can hear you guys.
Can you hear us? No, you're on mute. So,
Why did
yeah.
you
What? Okay. Yeah, they shot the film in 5 days, and they were talking about like controlling natural light and using sun mapping and like how they were trying to figure out like where's the sun going to be on that day, that location. So I guess you guys had a very similar process to your exteriors. Gabriele, I'm getting a sense that you're a visual director. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because so I guess the question is really for both of you. What's the give and take? Like, what's the interplay there? Because like you sometimes have visual directors who are extreme, meticulous taskmasters, like Stanley Kubrick, where it's like you're a DP but he's sort of the DP too, But or like, is it really like you open yourself up and say, okay, this is my idea. What's your idea? Best idea wins. Like, how's the interplay when there's a disagreement?
You go. Okay. Well, Jessica can back me up too. So I am really meticulous with the shots, and Jessica knows really, really well. I don't come from actually I do come from a photography background, and that's how I started to get into movies, basically. And to me, I'm really meticulous about the shots because it's just like another character in the movie, and like I feel I do think that like the emotions that you get from the film is dictated by acting, but also where the camera is in relation to the acting. So there's like an unspoken dance between the camera and the actor, and I love the movie. I just love the movies that they try to do that. They try to find this balance between the acting and the camera. I do think like it's just a type of movie. I'm not that type of like, for example, Marriage Story. That's the film that comes to mind right now. That's the opposite. They like the actor work and the camera step back. And that's totally good. It's just another type of style.
Absolutely.
But I know that I want I want the camera to be part of that. I want the camera to be part of that dance. That's why I'm always like meticulous, and it's actually really funny, and that's where the storyboards comes in. Once you find the correct position of the camera, it's really easy to like take that into any location, really, because what's the emotion in that scene. Just stupid things like, for example, you want to empower the actor, then you put the camera lower,
Of course.
and that's you can take that and you put it everywhere and it's still gonna work. So once you have that sorted out, you're basically safe no matter where you are shooting, and then of course the location is going to dictate the blocking, also with the acting, but usually it always works the same.
That's helpful. Jessica?
Yeah, it was very helpful having the storyboard drew by him and having the chance to actually study the scene the day before we were going to shoot it. So we will actually do the movements. So like, okay, if they're gonna step this way, we're going this way. And it was very important for me to actually enter in Gabriele's mind and understand where he wanted to go visually. And also, like he said, if you want an empowerment and and all that, it was very important to me understand that side.
I think visual literacy is generally very much a skill that every director should have. This just helps to
Hello
communicate.
there.
Hello. Yeah, so we want to transition over to Lydia, of course, and we want to ask about this character that you play. And first, what was it that drew you to the character? Sort of boring question, but a necessary one. And you cannot hear us? She's having technical difficulties.
Lydia, can you hear us?
She's on mute, so hold on. So
I can hear you,
You can hear us. Okay. So the question
but I
we had,
cannot see the host.
you can't see the host? Huh. Well, it's okay. I'm not that much to look at. It's okay. If you can hear me, it's okay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what drew you to this character? That's my first question. But my second
Can you
question
hear
about,
me?
yeah, we can hear you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And the
But
second
we lost
question.
the host.
No, the host is
Do we?
here. The host is here. This is going to require some editing. We're going to have to edit all of this technical confusion out. So yeah.
Siamo live. We're live. Cool. I'm in Foggia. Welcome to Foggia. We entertain the public. This is probably the worst city in Italy to visit. So I'm not gonna show you the city. So, but there is a lot of stuff to see around here. There is the Gargano. The Gargano is amazing, and you should come here when you come to Italy. I've been shooting here for 2 months actually, until the 16th of this December. Now I'm back to shoot in Foggia again. What is about it?
That's really funny.
At least they have something to be entertaining.
But so you don't see Robert at all, and you don't hear him,
No, I cannot see Robert at all.
but you can hear him.
No, is him talking now?
I can talk right now. Can you hear me?
Not now.
How can you respond to me
I
if you
cannot
can't hear
hear
me?
him.
That's so weird.
Robert, I cannot hear you. It's very nice to meet you, but
Maybe that's the confusion.
I don't know
Okay.
what.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe like yeah.
I'm gonna try to remove her and then add her back. Can you see me
Okay,
now? Now can you
I'm
see me?
back.
Yes, I know. I removed you. Did you hear me? Oh God. Okay. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna translate English to English, and I'm gonna ask the question, and then you can ask it to her. Right? So number one, okay. So number one is what drew you to the character. Number two is, with a character like this, how do you avoid judging the character when you're playing?
Okay, so Lydia, do you hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so since you don't hear Robert, I'm just gonna tell you the question that he asks, so you can answer, because we can hear you. So what was like the journey to the character, basically, and how
How do you
what did you
avoid
do to
judging?
like, huh?
How do you avoid judging a
How do you
character?
avoid judging the character in this situation? You know.
I don't understand the second part of the question, please.
How do you like not judge the character, which I think
You can never judge there. You have to love it. I mean, I loved Roxanne. I loved our way to avoid the world and to take advantage of the pandemic, to do that as much as many people did actually during the pandemic. So I was just keeping observing people. So it was hiding stuff, kept hiding more and more. And the obsession that Roxanne um, paint into her life is the same obsession of how many people we saw doing during the pandemic. So this is what I was trying to connect me with this character. It was like really connecting with the with the dark side
Hmm.
of a person who is in touch with her loneliness, and the first person I met,
Hmm.
I open up, but I don't know how to do it. So I take the worst road to do it.
We have a
So
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
the uncomfortable position of a lonely person
Mm.
repairing yourself into the pandemia more than ever. But she was like I was. Roxanne was already like that.
Hmm.
She just get more and more obsessed.
That's so interesting. I when we cast, she
So
can
how
you
can you
still
judge
she
the
still can't.
vulnerability of someone?
Okay, so if you can tell her this,
I love weakness in the characters.
this is so funny. Okay, just let her know that I'm responding right now.
Yeah, hold on, Lydia. He's responding to you. One sec.
Okay. um,
You
there
didn't
was,
hear anything I said?
of
But yeah,
course,
he heard. He's just asking you more stuff. So wait a
Okay,
second. He's gonna ask, and then I'm gonna tell you.
well,
I'm gonna be the
okay.
middleman.
this is not even a question. This is more like a comment for her, and it was really that a long time ago someone told me that you will know when you're in the presence of a good actor over a coffee if there's always the potential that they will throw the coffee at you. You just never know, and I sense that with Lydia.
Okay, so he said he always he it's when you're in the presence of a really good actor when at the first meeting at a coffee shop the actor would throw the coffee to you. You know, that's when you know that like you're in the presence of a good actor, and he senses that when he watched your performance in the film. Which we can see that,
Yeah,
right?
such as my person. Respect to Roxanne. I'm such a different person from her. So
Yeah,
I really have to go somewhere else.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean it
I hope you
as
want to
I'm
take
meeting her
grab a
now.
coffee with me
I'm
sometimes.
as I'm meeting. Oh, I hate that I'm not able to talk to her directly. Is what I'm saying is as I'm meeting her now, I'm sensing that like there's an unpredictability. It's not
Yeah.
just due to the technical issues, but it's like a free flowingness that an actor has that you are like, okay, there's something very special about this performer. So I'm
I'm
sensing
sorry,
that.
I'm in the car. I'm always in a car. I don't know why.
Don't worry.
But you were in a train before, so that's not even true. um, Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna mute Mike. Okay. So moving on a little bit. Gabriele, can you talk about your you mentioned it earlier about this love affair that you had with music as a child, and you wanted to make a film about this organ. Yeah. Where does it come from? Is it familial? Is it your parents? Is it a concert you went to?
So it was it's just the sound of it. One of the organists that I met, and I think he's right, he said that people often fall in love with the vibration that the organ gives you, because if you focus on the sound, especially on the basses or it's just when it gets really loud, it's a vibration that you hear. Like you really hear like the pipes going like this, you know, and that makes you vibrate in your body basically. And I do think that like he's right, like that's my attraction, that's my first attraction to the instrument, and I had it since I was a kid, since I heard the organ in one of the Mickey Mouse cartoons. You know, and I was really little, plus like I'm a fan of 2001. Remember the opening with the grand
Oh, of course.
organ like that, like you vibrate when the opening comes with that giant organ, you know, introduction.
Hmm.
So I really think that like the vibration of it really like got into me, and plus when I researched and I discovered that it was, you know, at first cinema was born with pipe organs, you know, like you could at the beginning of the last century you could go in a cinema and you didn't have anything else playing but the organ or the piano, you know. So to me it was really important to like tell about this, you know, like talk about this.
Yeah. Well, we're a festival founded by a composer and a writer. Pen dance. That's where that comes from. It's the writing and the music, and so it's always interesting and beautiful to be able to select a film that features such incredible music. And it's obvious that juxtaposition is a really, really big theme at this festival this year. We were talking about it last night at the Q&A for Midnight Shorts and how much juxtaposition those films employed. There's so many layers of juxtaposition in this film. There's the juxtaposition between loud and quiet. It's an incredibly loud film about a very quiet subject. So there's the loud and quiet. There's, of course, what you say about, like you had originally planned to shoot it like set in the 50s. You sort of did. You sort of did, like a little bit, it's there. But then there's also this very unmistakably 2020 element, right? And then there's the juxtaposition between the characters, like a character who speaks so much about like her so freely about what she says, and a character who can't speak. So talk about the role that juxtaposition plays in making your film work and interesting.
I'm glad you touched on this, because it is another thing that I really, not just on this film, but I study it, and I think every movie that resonates with us has this. You got a balance, like I think it's the whole point of like making a film is like to achieve this balance between all the departments, basically. But also, like, for this film in particular, I loved to play with it so much, and I knew that it could have been interesting, because even like the title, The Grand Bolero, there's nothing grand of the story. There's really nothing. It's all in a church, 4 characters. Like it's a little thing. And with this film, I really wanted to take this little thing and shoot it in a way that would look grand. And I think like I put so many thoughts into this, and I'm glad that like you point to this. Even like this is more like for the independent film. Like I feel like Hollywood is doing like big budget stuff, spectacular things. Like with even the stories are super grand. They're talking about superheroes. Like really big values or stuff like that. Yeah. But then you have the independent side, which is more like little things. Like family. Like let's talk about the characters. But like they never marry at any point, like, so I think with this film I really tried to like marry the two, like try to shoot an independent movie but trying to have that Hollywood spectacularity to it, and I think that we need to do that, like I feel like they're just these two, like Hollywood and independent films, they're not talking to each other, and I think they should, if they would do that, I do think that we're all gonna make like better movies, or movies that will resonate with us more.
I think Moonlight comes to mind as a film that marries Hollywood and independent. It's very epic in a way. The score by Nicholas Britell, incredible, right? But also the subject matter, the movement of the camera is all extremely independent. I don't know. Like I think sometimes people think independent means small.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes maybe it's like independent just means specific.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it's that you need to marry. There are movies that do that. I would just wish there would be like more, sometimes, I go to the movies and I just see one or, and that's just a pity for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Jessica, this is like I'm not sure how much production design, cinematography department, director. It's very difficult sometimes to say articulately like this is exactly the person who made this decision. But color seems to be a pretty big cinematography thing, right? It's part of it for sure, and I'm sure that the storyboards and the script certainly informed that. But talk about like the use of color in this film.
Well, it wasn't some. Well, we did talk about color palette, of course, before shooting, but to be honest, it just went naturally, especially in the church scenes or the organ, it just went naturally that way. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, I just felt it, especially, also when their chambers where they sleep, it just felt right to make it like that way, like very orangish, very warm, and very cold. You had really that kind of
Yeah.
ki- kind of feel like an orange, but not that way, but not using that way. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well.
Mhm.
um, for sure, we wanted to be cold, exactly like we wanted to keep the scene cold, but when they were in the organ, keep it warm as something we're going to happen in there, like just give that way. And then, well, we cannot talk about the end, but you can totally see there's something happening there. And that also went natural that way. And I think it just it felt right. I mean, at the end, it felt right to shoot it that way.
If I can add on that, there
Mhm.
was this discussion also about the yellow color.
Mhm.
You see yellow every time that you approach the organ, and it was a representation of like the obsession. Like that's why like sometimes the characters are so yellow, especially towards the end part, or orangey, just because that helps to like tell the audience, okay, this is like Roxanne is getting more and more and more obsessed,
Mhm.
so like I think the yellow was really like that to me was it felt really interesting to play around with it. All the other colors, yeah, like we were so lucky because they were in the church, like the marble, it was like pink, and even the walls, so like it was even the way we color, we didn't add like we didn't do like many artifacts, right? We just enhanced the colors that were already there. The only one that we really played around with was that orange
Which
yellow
it
tone.
came itself anyway, because it just
Yeah,
felt right. We didn't think like, oh, so we use yellow or orange because it can feel the obsession. It just, we were like,
yeah,
it's gonna be right.
yeah, yeah. It
Absolutely.
was there.
Yeah, you're speaking about this organ, and one of the things that we gleaned, yes, you had more than two actors, but it felt like the organ was your third character in so many ways. And this third character is what brings together your first two characters. So we had some discussions earlier on as programmers about like what the thematic elements of this film are, and we often go through these, debates. Like, okay, we're approaching this subject from this angle. If you don't mind my asking, is your film about fluidity?
That's a tough one. I'm also a little loose with English, so articulate a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So there was it feels to me that these two characters are not inherently drawn to women, right?
Yeah,
Just by their
yeah,
nature. But it is this passion that brings
yes,
them to each other. And so I guess what I'm saying is that the concept of fluidity, like the fluid love, is to say that the love for a human being then now transcends gender and
yeah,
sexuality,
yes,
which I
yeah.
think is very interesting. How do you draw on the understanding to write this story so well? And what is it that you were trying to convey, really?
Um, well, I wasn't focusing on like the gender per se. I just and if Adelaide would be here, maybe would answer better. But it was basically like it was all from Roxanne characters. So like Roxanne is like a really lonely woman at the end. Like she's a really lonely character in need for love, and she said it too before. Lydia said it too.
Hmm.
So every time she would. I think the only way that she would fall for somebody if that somebody was more perfect than the organ, because the organ is such a like in order to work, the organ has to be perfect. So Roxanne, she looks for perfection in everything that she does. That's why
Right.
she's so lonely, because she doesn't have friends, like she doesn't have people around her because she's just sharp on her obsession. So the only way for her to care for somebody else, if that person will be as perfect as the organ, you know. So after that, you know, like gender comes that it could be like anybody else, you know. We put it like woman and mute, everything to like make the two characters like so different, you know, and so unreachable from one another, you know, because we thought that you know would complicate the story even more, you know. That's our thought.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if it answers.
it's interesting because, you know, the first 10 minutes of watching this film, I had a feeling that, okay, I know where this is going.
Mhm.
And then about 25 minutes in or so, I was like, I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know anything. What's going on? Right. So that's very interesting. We do have some audience questions here. So we have a comment here from Michael, which is love the film. We have a okay, we have a question here about the end, and I don't want to put it on screen, but if you want to talk about the smile at the end without giving any spoilers. So Lucia's smile at the end. Because there's more to that question that I feel like if I put it on screen, it's gonna, yeah.
I don't know if I should answer that.
You shouldn't. I speak as your legal counsel. I tell you not to.
I don't know who said it, but like they can just reach me out and I'll probably share the truth story behind it. But I think
Behind the
it's best if I
smile.
just leave it open as it should be.
Yeah. The movie felt like a sonata. Loved Lydia's performance. I'm curious, where in Italy did you film?
Well, I'll speak on Lydia will be so happy. She put it so much into this picture. She was really into the film, so like I'm really glad that people appreciate her performance, because she really even us, like we were just like looking at her and every time she would bring something different, you know, like she was really into it in every moment.
Mhm.
So we shot in northern Italy. The church is in Lodi, which at the time was one of the city that was most hit by the COVID casualties. That was the first city where COVID came to Italy, you know?
Hmm.
So we sort of got lucky also because of that, because nobody wanted to go to Lodi anymore. That's where we filmed. The church, I don't remember the name of the church. I don't remember. But yeah, it's in Lodi. We shot there. And the exteriors were like around Bergamo. And the rivers is the Adda River, which, fun fact,
Mhm.
all the river scenes, that's where like Leonardo da Vinci dikes are. So it's like really historical. And where we actually shot the beach sequence, I don't know if anybody has in mind the painting. Jessica helped me out. The La Vergine delle Rocce. I don't know how it's. Okay, a famous, you know?
I don't.
I'm asking Jessica. Do you know the name? If not,
Google it. I don't know in English.
Okay.
Google it.
Vergine delle Rocce. It's like, it's a famous Leonardo da Vinci painting. I don't know how to translate that in English, the name of it. But there's the Virgin Maria with Jesus, like the baby, and then in the background you see rocks, and supposedly those are the rocks that he painted, Da Vinci painted in the past, you know. So we shot in that spot. That to me, I felt like I was so happy because it's such a historical place to me, you know, and even the church, it was really historical. The organ in the church is like from the 1500 original, and it still plays. Like some of the recordings that you hear in the film is that organ playing, you know. And you pump it with the as you see in the movie, with the cord, you know, like you need to like pump it up, and then you have like few seconds of playing, then you need to pump it again, or you need a person to do that as they were doing in the past. So it was really like interesting, and I'm so grateful that we shot there in such historical places.
Location is everything. It's so important, and you know, between the church and the river and the exteriors, like it's incredible, and I think it really does help for independent films that are like trying to achieve something so grand, you know, in a way, like, you know, this Hollywood meets indie thing that you're talking about, that the locations would play a huge part into that for sure. So location scouting, we give A+ for location scouting on this one. We have this question of what's next. What's next for you in terms of projects? I mean, we haven't mentioned your age in this, but the ICFF interview, she was quite shocked, and we were too, because it's like your first feature film, incredible, at 26 years old. You know who else shot their first feature at 26?
I'm afraid to ask who.
Steven Spielberg, Jaws.
Oh, okay.
I'm 99% sure. So there's, yeah.
I don't know if we achieved Jaws, but
yeah.
Don't dare too much.
No, but it's interesting.
Though.
But it's interesting to explore ideas like at such a young age, because you must have been 24, 25 when you were shooting it, right? And you're 26 now, so it's incredibly difficult. I think you talk to any young director, being taken seriously, first of all, making, there's like a age at which people get a voice in society. And I believe that age is roughly 34 and a half. Like, that's right. Anything before that, 21, 22, 23, you're always fighting uphill battle for credibility. So
I'm glad you pointed out, because it was also a struggle for this movie, just to get people trust me. And also keep in mind that I never shot anything in Italy. So I was in LA for the past 4 years, and I didn't know anybody in Italy. And they literally, they were making fun of me. I went to meeting with investors, and they were like, "Oh, you're the coffee guy, you're the guy that brings coffee on set." And I'm like, "Did you read the script though?"
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. And so I guess the question that Michael has is, what's next? What's next for you now that you have this? Because this is credibility, I would say. You have proven it. I think this is ridiculous, first of all, to say that this is your credibility. I mean, you've been selected to an incredible film festival before with your short film, and now you have transitioned up to a feature, which is very impressive. So what's next for you with this in your back pocket?
Another feature. That's a drug. It's like, once you get the first one, first of all, I don't know if any filmmaker from the short program is there. Please shoot features. Like, you don't realize, you think it's simple, but it's a total different thing. It's like it's really like making two different products. A lot of people told me, in the past, "Oh, do a short film, because it's just like a feature, just like a shorter, No. But and Jessica, yeah, you gotta be 100% prepared on set. But you love it. You actually have time. That's one thing that I miss with shorts. With shorts, you just cut. Go to the point. In this one, you have time to develop emotion, and that to me felt so imagine the Bolero sequence in a short, the ending sequence.
Yeah,
that's the whole short.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Minutes, but you need that time to feel for the character, and even on set, I remember there were days where even Lydia told me yeah, slow down, we can take time with this, and to me it was such a liberation. But anyway, for the answer Michael's question, so yeah, I'm writing another feature with Italy, the co-writer, that we want to shoot in Italy, and this is just a matter of investor at this point. Hope to shoot it next year in November. That would be our goal, but again, it will depend on the fundings.
Okay.
And I don't know if Jessica wants to answer that too.
Absolutely, yes. What is next for you? Because actually, it's funny, because as a young director, you face issues. I would say, as a film professional, women behind the camera, still a bit of a stigma behind it, because a lot of crew departments are all men, right? So this is also credibility for you. I think this is something.
Yeah, thank you for saying that also, because it was my first feature film as a director of photography as well, so that was very important for me, because I haven't been told directly, but I was in place where a director would say something like, "Oh, I female director of photography. I don't know." Even if I was the one suggested for the project, So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to pander, because it's very, very convenient for someone in my position to be like, oh yes, power to women. But I feel it in a very real way because, so many directors that we selected to this film festival in the past, they have been women who've worked with female DPs, and they're doing this consciously because they know that these opportunities are very fleeting. But it's not just about, it's just being a DP in general. It's very, very difficult to find your first feature. I know so many incredible DPs, and I'm talking to them, and they're like, yeah, 12 years, haven't shot a feature. I've shot 3,800 commercials. I've done like 75 shorts, but I have never done a feature. It's incredible because it's just so few good features are produced each year. And I really, I'm happy that you were able, that you did such an incredible job for this film, because it's like, what a what a what a portfolio piece. Like, it's incredible. Yeah, so we look forward to seeing more of your work, both Jessica and Gabriele. And I'm very sorry, Francesco. Were you here the whole time, and can you hear us? Did you find your microphone? He cannot hear us.
He said he can. He said he can hear us though, because he
But he
sent
cannot speak.
he sent a text before and was like he can see us and can hear us, but
This will be known as the Grand
there it
Bolero.
is. He just texted.
Yeah, this will be known as the Grand Bolero text. Yeah, it's funny. Q&A with technical difficulties. That's funny. Hello. Yeah, but it's thank you so much for. Oh, here we go. Just one more comment from the Anchorage team. One of my favorite movies so far. Congratulations on making such a beautiful film. Okay, so if anyone wants to get in touch with Gabriele, they can absolutely GF Pictures on Instagram. Check Penance if you're following us. We're talking about them all the time, and we're going to continue talking about them. The film is available through tomorrow, so if you didn't check it out last night, check it out today. Worst case, check it out tomorrow, but don't sleep on it any more than that, obviously. And if you've already watched the film, then thank you. Of course.
I'm
any
just going to
parting
add
words?
to this
Yeah.
because we need to give merit to this. Like Robert and the old team at Pendants, they're doing like a wonderful job. Again, I'm not there physically with you, but I can feel you working like your ass off. Sorry for that.
No problem.
24/7. Like to constantly push the film, and like I see you like you're just promoting the film like so much. And you got us in touch with in the.
Italian
ICFF,
contemporary.
yeah. So it's like they're doing a lot of work, and I'm just so grateful that we are a part of your family, because it's really rare to find festivals that really take time and promote each single film. I think that's special. So I just wanted to give you a shout out.
Yeah, it's interesting reading. So like that is a very common thing that we get from like sometimes short filmmaker who made 4-minute, 5-minute short, and they're like, never had a festival talk about my film ever, But it's like there's a catch-22 there, whereas like, so I was you were at a film festival with the Lion King director recently, right? And so it's like therein lies like there's just not a shade to that festival. Obviously, good job getting William H. Macy and the director of The Lion King, there. But the Grand Bolero, like, why not 7 o'clock? You know what I mean? Like, there has to be, like, we have to promote people before they're promotable. You have to celebrate people for what they are, not what you can get from them. I think that that's really important. Yesterday during our New Voices shorts Q&A, there was a director, Elizabeth, and she's fantastic film that she's made, Lana Negra. It's like a beautiful Spanish film, 20 minutes, and she's won an award at this big film festival in Madrid, and she didn't have an invitation, but like these other famous actors, they all have the invitation. So it's sort of like I always say festivals start for one or two reasons: either someone really loves festivals or someone really loves films, right? And we started because we really love films, and I'm so happy that we that you were able to screen at Austin Film Festival, and you were there. How was your experience at Austin? I never even asked you. Like, how was your experience there?
The best.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, I was so happy. It was our first. It was our world premiere,
Yeah.
Theater packed, all kind of audience, like from critics to like press to like normal audience. But even the festival, like the festival programmer, Tim, like where are you? Like he's a god.
Yeah.
Like that's what I loved, and this is what you guys have too. You know, like the Austin Film Festival is, I hope I can say this,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna say it anyway. Is made by a few people. It's not a huge team, but God, if they take care of filmmakers, they really do. It's like they you see in their eyes that they love your film, you know, like from the moment they even approach you and say, hey, can we screen your film, you know, you see how much like energy they have, you know. And they also promote each film. They try their best to do like all of their lineup.
Mm.
And that's what you said, like there are a festival that love film, you know, everyone from the team, you know, and
So
that's so important.
yeah, we've had a couple of Austin programmers, or at least one Austin programmer involved with our jury in the past. So we have very a good understanding of that festival. And actually, when we started Pendance, our goal was Austin meets Sundance, like somewhere in the middle there. You know, like we wanted to be a festival that was like very, very intimate, but also a festival that could eventually be really large. So it's an interesting thing, but it's so interesting
What is
that
your year now? Like, are you in your
fifth.
only the fifth? Like, that's the thing. Like, you know, like you're way ahead you're way ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we were way ahead in year three, and then we had the same problem your characters had, which was a pandemic. And you know, but I hope that we'll be able to meet you in Toronto live someday soon. Jessica, thank you so much. I'm not pandering when I say I cherish the hell out of female DPs, but I really
Thank
do. Some
you.
of my favorite DPs are female, so yeah.
So nice.
Um,
Thank you.
I mean,
Really appreciate
even
it.
the
Thank you.
production design, like most of the key roles were like female. But that's the thing. Like, me, producer, like no one chose based on like gender. Like we chose them because they are great. You know, like it's like, and I was so honored. You know, like it's you and I think like I wish you were with us when we were like filming, because you could really see like how much passion each and everyone, like
yeah,
Jessica, like she was like doing all sort of things with the camera. Like she
yeah,
was like she was a monster. She was like a machine, you know, like she was moving like
yeah,
a cricket, you know.
yeah.
The production design, Serena, she had like to do wardrobe, makeup, like, do you understand, like, and continuity, like, so it's really important to have people so much focus. And yeah, like I chose because they were the best. I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else.
This
Because
is
we didn't
actually.
say we were sorry if I interrupted
Go
you.
ahead.
We didn't say we were actually 8 in the crew, kinda. Yeah, 8, 9. Like
That's
was
so tight.
yeah,
Wow,
like the
that's super
my
small.
department was just me and my first AC, and then in the church, couple of times a guy came to help, and that's it. Like
A guy came to help. What's the credit for that? Guy came to help.
nice
That's
guy.
nice guy. You know, no, it's so
Executive producer.
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of festivals that attend this festival, like because we do comp passes and stuff for a lot of programmers. And I think one of the big beefs that I've always had is this and element of pandering, which is why I always announce that I'm not pandering. And I love that you said that you chose the best person, and it just so happened that a lot of the best people available at that moment were women, right? And you know, we've selected quite a few shorts in the past that were best short winners or best director or whatever. And I hope, and I've heard from those directors at some point that this meant more to me than most awards, because I know I didn't get it because it was a woman. Do you know what I mean? Like that element of it just cheapens it. So as long as you can be very transparent that these things are not being given out of some necessity to fill some checkbox, you know, but really it's like it's a true award of merit. And so yeah, so you know, but you know what it is, the sexism is real for sure in the camera department. And so unfortunately for Jessica, right, she happened to be available at that moment because that's probably true. But fortunately for you, you found an excellent DP who could man a department of one human being and an occasional floater in and pull off this type of film. So That's incredible, and we're so happy to learn more about this film. And keep in touch. You're part of the Pendants family, and we look forward to seeing more about the Grand Bolero. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Our
Thank you so
pleasure.
much,
Thank you.
Robert.
It was a
Again,
pleasure. Thank you, Robert.
yeah.
Our
Thank you again
pleasure.
for all your effort. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.